All right, guys, I'm talking about a house that not many people talk about, but this house has a lot of great budget fragrances. And, most people talk about the fragrances themselves, but as a house, an overall house, not many people speak about it. I'm talking about a house from France called Mauboussin. Mauboussin is a jewelry house in France, just like Reminiscence, which was part of a jewelry brand, but they separated. And then we've got Mauboussin, who's also a jewelry house, who has a really great collection of fragrances. In today's video, I'm doing a video of the top 5 men's fragrances from Mauboussin. All can be had for around $30, $40, some even less, and totally worth owning if you are a person that enjoys fragrances but doesn't want to spend a lot of money. And again, people complain if I talk about cheap fragrances when they see me talking about, expensive or niche and luxury fragrances, and vice versa. When I talk a lot about expensive luxury niche fragrances, people complain that I speak too much about them. But I don't really judge a book by its cover. I kind of want to make sure the presentation is nice, which a lot of the presentation for these fragrances are. And when you get past the presentation and start smelling the fragrances, there's also some really, really great fragrances here. So again, these are really inexpensive fragrances, but totally worth it to own. And if you are, like I said, someone that buys budget fragrances and you want quality, these are definitely the fragrances that you should check out, because price points are somewhere under $40, $30 and really worth owning. So the first time I discovered the house of Mauboussin was with a fragrance called M Generation. Early on my first YouTube channel for fragrances, which I started in 2012. In 2013, I was talking about M Generation, which came in a bottle like this. But it was, I don't have the bottle here with me, it was a bit more shiny and metallic looking with a copper and silver, dark kind of scratched up silver looking bottle, which was a fragrance that I hyped quite a bit, and it was one that people found and loved and enjoyed. And eventually, a few years later, it got discontinued and it was nowhere to be found. But originally, I found it for probably around $30, $35, like these fragrances that I'm going to talk to you about today. So that was my first entry into Mauboussin fragrances, and they keep cranking out some really great ones. And this is a top 5 list for you guys. But before I get to the fragrances, do you know this brand? Have you got their fragrances? I've been really hyping on Histoire, Homme, Irresistible, and also Star. But they have 3 other fragrances that I haven't spoken too much about, but also are quality, and they're here listed in this top 5 list. So we're going to first start with number 5, and it's called Private Club for Men. Are you familiar with Private Club for Men? So I've ranked this the lowest. Not that it's a bad fragrance. It's not my favorite when I'm comparing it to the rest of the fragrances. This is created by Alexandra Carlin, and it retails for 100 ml for $27. And I ranked it low because it does remind me a lot like a lot of other men's amber woody fragrances. And so I ranked it low because it does have that very mass market smell. But in the end, when you wear it and enjoy it, you will see that it's quality, especially since it's prepared or created by a pretty well-known perfumer who's done fragrances for many other brands. But again, this is ranked low because it's definitely reminding me of a lot of mass market men's fragrances from the big designer names like YSL, Armani, and things like that. But this is very ambery and also very spicy. There's a lot of warm spices here. There's some woods as well. And even though the brand doesn't mention fruits, there's a slight freshness from like a juicy fruity something like pear or apples, which adds a crisp layer. But I think that might be coming from a note like violet leaves, because it adds this kind of a watery, ozonic, fresh crispness. And that's here against all the warmth. So there's a lot of warmth here in this fragrance. I think those of you that enjoy that style of fragrance I'm talking about, the mass market amber woody fragrances, with a bit of a holiday warmth here. Like cinnamon is featured quite a bit here. It's also amber. So because it has this warm amber experience, it might appeal to some folks that like fragrances that kind of give you a little bit of that holiday spice vibe in fragrances. But lots of amber, lots of spices, and a slight fresh ozonic fruitiness in here that I think should satisfy. Yeah, it might have ranked a little higher. Maybe I would have switched around Private Club with another fragrance at number 4, but I'm feeling this fragrance like this now, and I recommend it like this, but you might enjoy this one. This might be your number 1, but this is currently at the discounters for $27 for 100 ml. Again, these are really inexpensive but very quality fragrances. We're going to the fragrance Discovery next. So remember I said the first time I discovered Mauboussin was with a fragrance called M Generation. And it was in a bottle like this, but it was a bit copper around here and a bit more silvery but faded kind of looking bottle. Let me know if you've gotten that fragrance or you had that fragrance. It's nowhere to be found now, but it was a great fragrance. It was a very warm, spicy, incense, woody fragrance. So at that time, I was really into incense. I was a fan of Comme des Garçons Avignon and things like that. So that fragrance was a cheapie for around $25, $30, $35, $40, and it was definitely one I enjoyed. But Discovery is definitely Maubussin's take on something like Aventus. It's a Chypre style, the modern Chypre style. So it's citrus and leather together. This was launched in 2021. The Private Club was launched in 2018, and this is, I don't know who the perfumer for this one is, unfortunately. It's not mentioned. I couldn't find it. But it's launched in 2021, and it's a really great freshy, similar to Aventus or anything like that. HACIVAT, maybe what is the CEDRAT BOISE from MANCERA, and many other fragrances. This style has been really not duped, but I guess inspired by Aventus. Many have copied it. It's extremely fresh, dries down to a leather. There's fruitiness thrown in there as well. This is retailing for $100 ml for $23. Features bergamot, oakmoss, thyme, green apples, patchouli, leather, cardamom, pink pepper, and jasmine. So in this case, we've got the fruitiness coming from green apples, whereas with Aventus and those kind of fragrances, they tend to utilize pineapple. But you still get a bit of that kind of a vibe, but with a more of a green apples direction, which adds this crispness. This is not as crisp and screechy like something like HACIVAT. HACIVAT is so metallic and sharp and screechy, but really a great long-lasting fragrance. This is a bit softer, somewhere in between something like Aventus and CEDRAT BOISE, and then of course HACIVAT. It's a lot softer, and it's a lot, I guess, if you're put off by that screechiness of HACIVAT, because it comes off very sharp and metallic and very cold, this adds a little bit more of a softness about it, but still very, very pleasant and enjoyable. And I think if you are in the market for an Aventus style, Chypre, fruity Chypre style fragrance, definitely check this one out. I think it smells pleasant. I would call this more of like a dumb reach fragrance. It's not anything groundbreaking, but truly pleasant to wear. And I think it works great in the hot months of the year. Refreshing, cooling, invigorating, fruity, spicy, citrusy, and of course leathery, woody when it's drying down. So that's Discovery from the House of Mauboussin. Let me know if you've tried that one. All right, up next, we've got one of the earlier fragrances from this house that I have in my collection. This is Homme. Are you familiar with Homme? This one is actually created by Alberto Morillas, and it's a lavender-focused fragrance, but it's a amber fougere style. So it's like a barbershop fragrance with a lot of vanillic, ambery warmth in the base, but it's overdosed with a lot of lavender. I guess the idea might be like Caron pour un homme de Caron in that kind of a warm lavender aromatic herbal direction. But nicely done. And, you know, Alberto Morillas does create a lot of great fragrances, and some of them I don't care for either, because he does tend to do a lot of aquatic marine fragrances, and some of them are just way too fishy for my taste. But here, I love the lavender and how it's combined with warm spices, and of course vanilla and amber in the dry down. We have also got some sandalwood and musk in there as well, but with a lot more herbs. There's rosemary here and clary sage as well. So it might come off a bit old school to you guys. If you are unfamiliar with Caron Paranum de Caron, maybe this might be a great alternative, because at one time Caron Paranum de Caron was readily available at the discounters for fairly inexpensive. This is $28 for 100 ml, and the bottle is like this, as you can see. And it might be a great alternative or a gateway to see if you like the style of Caron Paranum de Caron, maybe try this one and then graduate to that one. I find the Caron to be a bit smoother. I feel like the lavender with that one is a bit more softer. This one seems like a harsh kind of lavender. It's a bit more, and even though the Caron is pretty old school because it was launched in the 30s. Is it the 30s? Yeah, it was launched in the 30s. It's 90 years old already, yeah. And this one seems a bit harsher. It hasn't been formulated, whereas that one is softened up. This does have a bit of harshness, so I feel like it's a bit unadulterated, rougher. The lavender is not cleaned up and things like that. But in the end, it gives me more vintage vibes than how Caron is smelling like today, just because that lavender in here is a bit sharp and a bit old school. I feel like I can connect this to more like 80s fragrances for men, but with a lot of amber and things like that with it in comparison to the Caron for some strange reason. But it's kind of in that style. It's that style for sure, because it's warmth, ambery, resinous, vanillic notes with the overdose of the aromatics like lavender and rosemary and clary sage. So that is Mauboussin Homme from 2003, created by Alberto Morillas. So the next one is one fragrance that keeps selling out, and it might be a bit difficult to get this now because I recently spoke about it in a YouTube short and it sold out again. And these fragrances keep selling out because they're so inexpensive and totally worth the quality, the price point. This is an Histoire de Homme Irresistible. Are you guys familiar with this one? So this one launched in 2017. I got my hands on it in 2020 or 2021. Did a video for this because it was selling for really cheap. Everywhere it was sold out. Then finally it was brought back, and I've been kind of hyping it here and there because I think it's a really quality offering created by Carlin Dubreuil-Sereni. It's a green woody fragrance with an ambery kind of a base. It's woody, green, and ambery. And it features a lot of fig leaves. There's also cedarwood and sandalwood, bergamot. And it's a really great fresh, not necessarily ultra warm, but really great. The fig and the bergamot create this juicy green bitter kind of an effect against the overdose of the cedarwood and sandalwood. And the sandalwood is also very creamy here, so it wears smooth and creamy and really great smell. I mean, it's really totally worth having this in your collection. I would say this is worth paying around the same price as what the designers from the big major houses are charging for fragrances. It's that quality. Like some of the fragrances that are launching from the big houses are not even as good as this fragrance, because this smells to me much better than what the Armani brand and YSL brand is launching. At least this smells of realistic, fragrances. The notes are realistic, not overdosed with a lot of heavy amber woody kind of a combo of marine notes that they keep putting in a lot of those fragrances. This to me smells fresh, green, citrusy, woody, creamy, smooth. I absolutely love this one. But it is ranked here at number 2, but it is a really great fragrance. It's currently it's usually sells around for $26 for 90 ml. Once it's back, get it, because it's totally worth it. And again, it's a great house, Mauboussin. They have great fragrances and they're all really, really budget offerings. All right, guys. And then last but not least, this was gone for a while after I did a video review of it. Now it's back selling again, 90 ml for $22. This is the latest men's fragrance from Mauboussin called Star. There is a woman's version of this as well. And actually the woman's version also has a flanker, which I haven't got my nose on, which is also pretty inexpensive. And I would say the woman's version is also pretty decent. The woman's version doesn't even smell ultra feminine. I feel like they're kind of like equivalent of one another in this case, whereas there is a woman's version of Histoire de Homme Irresistible, which is more of a musky floral, I believe. I recently featured it in a haul video. Here's Star for Men and also Star for Women, not the flanker, but the OG in the blue bottle, do have similarities because they're all both powdery, dry, vanillic fragrances. This one, once again, is created by Dubreuil-Sereni. Same with the Histoire de Homme Irresistible. And she's a great perfumer. I enjoy her creations. She tends to do quite a few Mauboussin fragrances, and she did a great job here. It does remind me of Layton, I've mentioned in my review for this. And also it reminds me of another fragrance she created, which also reminds me of Layton, which is Lalique White and Black, I think. Is that the name? Or Black and White? I think it's White and Black. Really great offerings from her. And this one features notes of amber, tonka, saffron, incense, vanilla, cardamom, cedarwood, iris, papyrus, patchouli, black pepper. If you know Layton, you're gonna know how this smells. It's a dry vanilla. This is considered an amber woody or woody amber fragrance, but it's quite spicy. The cardamom is really pronounced and intense. The cedarwood, it's very woody too. So I think the woodiness actually, even though this is amber and lots of vanilla, the woodiness makes it very masculine and doesn't take it to the other side of the wheel where it becomes more feminine. This to me is a very masculine take on a vanilla fragrance, and it has the great spices that I enjoy, like cardamom, lots of woods mixed in with the vanilla and the ambery notes. And it creates a dry type of an amber woody vanilla fragrance. And again, also there's some slight booziness in here. So it's not uber boozy, but the more you wear it, the more you smell it, the more you come back to it, eventually produces something slightly boozy. But I wouldn't call this an uber boozy fragrance, but really, really nicely done. Really nicely done. I absolutely love this. Great job by her. And if you can't afford Layton, this is a great alternative. Star, it's $22 for a 90 ml. So totally worth it. But that's all I have for you. I wanted to do a top 5 of the fragrances of this house. Maybe I'll do a women's, but I only have 2 feminine fragrances from Mauboussin, I think. I have the women's of Histoire de Homme Irresistible, and then I've got Star for the ladies. And maybe after I get the flanker for the ladies, will they also make a men's flanker? Maybe after I get the Star for the ladies, the flanker, I'll do a video comparing the two. But anyway, those are my thoughts on these 5 Mauboussin fragrances. What are your thoughts on these fragrances? Let me know if there's anything else out there from that brand that's really worth checking out. There was another fragrance that I had for a while. I've had a few others along the way. I think I've ran out of them and gifted them to folks or things, other people and relatives. But these are the ones I really enjoy. And let me know your thoughts on these 5 fragrances. And also, after you let me know your thoughts on these 5 fragrances, how would you rank these 5 fragrances? Please add a comment below. But thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and also click the bell icon. And please give a thumbs up to this video to help with the algorithm. And appreciate you, checking the video out. Otherwise, please like this video and share it. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.